Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Democracy Savers. I am Ralph Dillinger, along with my co-host, Walter Capone.
Yes, it's great to be here, and we are going to be giving regular messages of hopelessness.
Oh, Walter, that's not what we're here for. We're here to give a message of hope.
Oh, never mind. I got a better idea. How about if you give a message of hope, and then I'll come back with a dose of reality.
All right, well, this is definitely going to be a dose of reality because we're going to be talking about the situation in our country and in the world, really, and how we can try to work to bring grassroots democracy back, if in fact we've ever even had it.
Well, the first thing you're going to have to do is get people to wake up and start thinking for themselves, and that's the hard part.
I would definitely agree with that. I do believe that people do not tend to think very fully and engagingly, particularly in our country.
I don't know. It may be worldwide, though, and I think one of the big reasons for that is religion.
Well, you're not going to get much disagreement from me there. I believe that religion, organized religion, is in fact a major problem. I believe that a lot of the religion started as factions against empire, factions for justice, things like that. I believe, like, for example, Christianity. If you go back to the historical Jesus, I believe that he was crucified not as a sacrifice. It wasn't something that was predestined, because the Romans crucified people all the time, and Jesus wasn't special in that regard. But I believe that the Jesus movement was a movement against empire, against unfairness, and a message or a movement to promote justice and equality and humanitarianism. But because it went against what the empire wanted and stirred things up too much, then it was eventually quashed. But what happened is eventually it actually became the very thing that it was trying to destroy. Organized religion is now part of the oppression apparatus.
Yeah, it's a great way to control people.
That it is. I mean, people actually believe, that no matter what happens in this life, that there's going to be another life afterwards. And because they believe that, they're willing to put up with things here because they keep thinking, well, we don't have to tolerate this forever. The next life's going to be better. And that keeps people asleep. It keeps people inactive. It makes people tolerate things that they wouldn't otherwise tolerate. And it stifles any revolutionary spirit.
And when you think about it, it defies complete common sense.
It does. It really does. Because, the fact is, when somebody dies, and this is a little morbid, but if you would go and dig up the body 10 years later, you're going to find the remains. They're not going to have disappeared and gone somewhere else. The remains will be there.
Okay, Mr. Hope, so what we need is for the people to get their heads out of their arses.
Well, that would indeed be a good thing.
Yes, not only will they be able to see where they're going and not be bumping into things, but they'll, for the first time in their lives, be able to catch a breath of fresh air.
The thing is, how are we going to do that? I mean, what kind of a strategy do we have for that? And that's what this program is going to be all about. It's going to be, hopefully encouraging people to think and to wake up because they're in this state of dogmatic slumber, distractions, and so many other things that they're not really thinking. Now, some people would say that people are inherently stupid, and that's the reason why.
Yes, and I'm one of those people.
I do know that. I hold out some hope, although it's fleeting at times, that it's a matter of education and a matter of more, less distraction, I guess, is the way I want to put it. And I'm also of the opinion that people are, if there's one thing that I will say that I think is a human trait that you're going to find anywhere, is the fact that people are followers.
And that is the problem right there. People are followers.
That is true. And I think that harkens back to the fact that we were, kind of like we're herding animals. But I believe that if people have the right information and are given tools to think critically, that they can do that.
And who's going to give them those tools?
Well, the democracy savers, for one.
Okay, well, let's hope that's the case.
We definitely have our work cut out for us, and that's why we're going to encourage people to tune in to our program, and we're going to have a lot of lively discussion on various topics. Some of it timely, some of it more of just a general thing that just is kind of a recurring thing. And we hope to educate people and give people another alternative that they're not finding anywhere else. And then I guess time will tell whether you are correct or I am.
Well, so far I'm winning. But one of the other things we're going to do here is we're going to have some entertaining features, such as the Democracy Savers Audio Theater.
Indeed, that is correct. We will be offering the Democracy Savers Audio Theater, and we have had the opportunity to sample some of the material that's available, and I'm telling you, it had us rolling on the floor.
It's going to be a hoot, folks.
It's going to be funny. It's going to be great. But anyway, so what exactly do we want to kind of start off with? This is our pilot program, and because it's our pilot, we're going to kind of keep it kind of straightforward. I mean, we're not going to have the Democracy Savers Audio Theater on this particular episode because we just want to kind of get people acclimated and get people to get an idea of just what we're going to be here to do. And so,
we're going to be talking about the oligarchy, of course, and that's a worldwide oligarchy, not just in this country. And that's the hard part, because probably the whole world is run by a certain 1%. And they like the status quo just as it is.
That is absolutely correct. And they use all of their wealth, all of their influence, all of their power. And their power is quite significant because they've got the ability, both financially and, influentially, to acquire governments. In fact, governments really are, for the most part, in this world that we're living in today, governments really are basically there to sustain and do the will of the 1%. They're not there to do the will of the people. They're not there really for any other purpose except for to carry out the will of the 1% and to serve as kind of like a buffer zone, so that the 1%. I mean, when you're upset about things, you're dissatisfied with the way things are going, and it's the fault of the 1%. You're not going to go to the 1% because you have absolutely no access to them. The government serves as kind of like that buffer zone.
That is true, and that is the problem. That is the problem indeed. I mean, they'll tell you that your vote counts, but if that's the case, I think it is our fault. I think it's the people's fault. We put the same people in there.
Well, see, and here's where I would tend to disagree, because you're right, we do put the same people in there, but that's because there's so much money involved in the political system these days that the only people that can really run for office and have any possibility of winning are people who are willing to be bought by the elite.
Well, here's the thing, though. Okay, why do people vote for these same people? Because there are other parties. There's not just two parties in this country, or in any country for that matter. But in this country, it's just two parties. Now, why can't you run or I run?
Well, again, it's the money aspect, and also the fact that if you're a third party, the requirements to even get on the ballot are different than they are for the Democrat or Republican Party.
But what we can do is have a write-in campaign.
I mean, I guess it could be done, but it would be such an uphill battle because you're fighting against big money.
So what you're saying is, and this is the reality, is no matter what propaganda they feed, we're buying into it. We're buying into it. I mean, they put these political ads on, we're buying into it, voting for the same people, and the argument is, well, it's the money's fault. No, it's our fault for being so stupid for voting for these same people.
But I believe that that's the reason why voting is down. I mean, most people aren't even voting because they realize. In fact, a recent Princeton poll shows that the influence that the average person has on the political process is near zero. And if you talk to people, even people that do vote for whatever reason, they will tell you 99% of the time that they're not voting for somebody, they're voting against somebody else. They realize they have no choice. They realize that there's no good alternative. Why they bother to vote, I don't know. But how often do you hear somebody actually being excited about a candidate and voting for that candidate? No, more often than not, they're voting against the other guy. They feel like they're choosing the lesser of two evils.
But you could vote for the Green Party.
That is true. You could do that, and people do, but they have absolutely no possibility of winning.
But hold on a second. If everybody uses that logic, then we'll never get out of the funk that we're in.
Well, I am of the opinion that this country cannot be reformed through the quote-unquote proper channels. Voting has absolutely no impact whatsoever. Maybe at one time it did. That's a little bit questionable, but for the sake of argument, but it does not today. Voting has absolutely no. The only thing that voting does is it makes the voter complicit in her or his oppression, and it kind of gives a system that is illegitimate a veneer of legitimacy.
But hold on a second. The Green Party, and you also have libertarian candidates. And I'm not a libertarian. I don't buy into the libertarian point of view or philosophy for the most part. But they do run, and they are on the ballots. So we go back to, it's the people's fault that they're not voting for example, the Green Party, because they'll say that, well, if I vote for this Green Party candidate, I'm throwing away my vote. But if you have millions of people that actually vote for these candidates, you might have a change. But they're not doing it because they believe that you're wasting your vote if you vote for these third-party candidates.
That is a good point, but then you also have to understand, too, are these third-party candidates even getting the visibility because they don't have the money backing them that the other candidates have?
It doesn't matter. If they're on the ballot, they're there. If you know that person A and person B, you don't want them, even if you don't know who person C is, hey, vote for them.
That's a point.
If you're that irritated with the way things are, I don't like this guy, I don't like that guy. Hey, here's someone, I don't know who they are. I want to change. Well, that's a change.
I'm still of the opinion, though, that the electoral process is not going to make a difference. Because even if you do, for the sake of argument, even if you do get, a couple of these, third-party candidates in there, how effective are they going to be? I mean, look at Bernie Sanders, for example. I mean, he's done some good things. Don't get me wrong, but how effective can he really be? He's like, he's in there with the sharks.
You vote for more than one Bernie Sanders. You vote for thousands of Bernie Sanders.
Yes. Well, see, now the roles have been reversed. I'm the one that's sounding hopeless because I believe that the electoral process is hopeless. And you believe that there's actually a possibility that...
Oh, but hold on a second. But I still believe that you're never going to get people smart enough to do that.
Well, yes. I believe you're right in that, but I also believe that the electoral process basically is a waste of time. I used to vote on a regular basis. I voted every election, at least the presidential elections, for years and years and years. And I finally gave up on voting because I realized that I have no voice, and it doesn't matter who gets elected, even if it is a candidate that I voted for, which, by the way, the last time I voted, I did vote for a candidate that I actually was excited about, the current president. But you know what? I voted for him.
How'd that work out for you?
Exactly. My point exactly. The biggest reason I was excited about Obama, and again, I voted for Obama, not against the other guy. The reason I was excited about Obama, one of the issues that is dear to my heart is healthcare, and he campaigned on the idea of national healthcare, single payer, nonprofit, which I think is what this country needs, and what just about every industrialized country on this planet has already.